chose Galen because of its strong reputation.
Great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
Did you know that your bills don't go away when you get a cold? And they most certainly won't go away if you're diagnosed with cancer or renal failure. Let Sagicor help you prepare. Sagicor keeps its promise to you. Wise financial thinking for life.
I had a really good time tonight.
So did I.
Life moves fast. Be prepared with Sagicor. Learn more at sagicorlife.com.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Matters. Our guest this morning is Dolores Balderamos Garcia. She definitely is no stranger to a lot of you looking at this show this morning, as she is a politician and a lawyer. Today she's here to share with us a little bit of her life's journey thus far. Mrs. Balderamos Garcia, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Rhonda. Good morning. Pleasant good morning to you. Good to be with you.
It's lovely to have you here this morning. I first have to say thank you for accepting. I know that this is a very busy time for you. So please allow me to express my gratitude for you to find the time to come and sit with us. But we will waste none of your time. In this segment, we want to learn a little bit about you. How you grew up, where you grew up, what your family situation was like. So let's start with, where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up at number 14 Eyre Street. Some people call it Erie Street, but it's actually EYRE, like Jane Eyre. And it was a stone's throw from St. Catherine's Convent. So I used to be able to hear the first bell ring and dash out to the house and over to school, to elementary, and not be late.
Well, excellent. You had quite the advantage. A lot of people would envy you for that advantage. Did you have other siblings?
Indeed. Definitely. I have 3 older siblings and 4 younger siblings. So there's 8 of us. I'm number 4.
Wow, what was it like growing up in a house with 8 children?
Well, you couldn't be selfish, but then you had to take care of yourself as well. But I think as a little girl, I was precocious, Rhonda, because I had 3 older siblings, an older brother, 2 older sisters. And I believe, I can't give you exact times, etc., but I believe that I probably started school from the age of 3. And so, right over there with the nuns at St. Catherine Convent and St. Catherine's Elementary, that's where I was. And actually, we were at 14 Eyre Street for the first 10 years of my life. My mom tells me that I was born the day after they moved from Regent Street to Eyre Street. And she actually walked to the Belize City Hospital. And when she got there, the nurse said, Come, Miss Joe. Come, Miss Bala. We know Miss Bala baby born on the street. Come. And so I was born right at the Belize City Hospital. I won't tell you how many years ago, but it was the 12th of April.
Who would you say had more influence on your life, your mother or your father, and why?
Oh my, a tough one, because both of them have been fabulous role models. I think my dad was the quieter type. And so if I had to give a straight answer, I would probably say my mom. But then knowing my dad's years and years of public service, I really couldn't leave him out either, because my dad was in the RAF, the Royal Air Force, in World War II. He was a Morse code operator, and also he flew and saw action in the 196th Squadron. And I'm exceedingly proud of that, of all that my dad did in the war years. But then he had a wonderful career in civil aviation, but also in public service as the chief scout. He was in the Scouts for many, many years. And then he became the chairman of the board of the Sister Cecilia Home for the Elderly. So right up until perhaps he couldn't even work anymore, he just gave so much public service. And we are eternally grateful for all that he did. And I think that I get that kind of public service, I don't want to say acumen, but certainly the role model that my dad was, has helped me absolutely tremendously. As you know, my mom comes from a political family. And so I think maybe the influence of both of them played a huge role in what I have become today.
When you were young, what did you have dreams of becoming?
Oh my, I don't think I had any huge dreams. I think it was just so wonderful growing up with so many siblings. I was good at English. I was terrible at math. So I perhaps didn't see any kind of career in sciences. But I always have had an affinity for teaching. And so I have been a teacher. And I think that, that really helped. Before going into law, I did do some teaching. And so I think more on the verbal and the literary side of things is maybe what my early life was. And also teaching at SCA. And even I think I had a year at St. John's College before going off to law school. But that was, of course, after gaining a master's degree from Marquette University in English. Back in the very early 80s, I was home for independence in 1981. And Rhonda, I tell you something. I think half or more of our population in Belize today were born after independence in 1981. So that really dates some of us who were alive at that time. Though you're a girl, I was a little bit older, but I was still young. And I can remember very, very vividly my sister Jo and I going on to Southern Foreshore. We couldn't get close to Government House for the lowering of the Union Jack and the raising of our independent Belize flag. We couldn't see, but we just wanted to be close. And so we were there around about midnight on the 20th of September, going into the 21st of September. And it's wonderful memories of taking part in the independence celebrations, but also actually working with the Secretariat, because we had to host prime ministers like Maurice Bishop, Edward Seaga. I can remember seeing all of them right up in Belmopan when we got our independence on that day. And then, of course, coming down to Belize City and joining in the Bram on Albert Street, because we were a free and independent Belize.
Not to date you, but just so that people can have an appreciation of how old you were. May I ask more or less how old you were when this was happening? Because you said you were relatively young. And then once you share how old you were, can you tell me the impact that event had on your life at that time, and were you aware of the magnitude of that event when it was happening?
I think, yes, we were aware of the magnitude. I was in my mid-20s, and we were aware of the magnitude, Rhonda. I know my mom, on the morning of independence, I get a little emotional saying this, but on the morning of independence, my mom said, the little bird is right there in the front yard. And I wonder if that little bird knows today that he or she is on free and independent Belizean ground. And so I always hark back to what my mom said at that time. And I think that it was just a wonderful, fantastic event, because we threw off the yoke of colonialism, which had really held us down. I mean, Rhonda, girl, I'm a student of Belizean history as well. And you know, absolutely must reads are books like Colonialism and Resistance in Belize by Nigel Bolland. And we knew that even from the 1919 ex-servicemen's riot, that Belizeans wanted to be free. In the 1930s, with Antonio Soberanis and all the men and women who supported that movement of the Unemployed Association, the Labor and Unemployed Association, which were, those persons were the precursors of John Smith and Philip Golson, George Price. Those were the precursors. They set the stage for modern political parties in Belize. And when you look at the 1931 hurricane, the war years, now I'm really talking about the 20th century now, of Belizean history. When you look at those years and all that our poor Belizean people suffered, I don't even know if they had a 15 cents an hour back in those days. And women played a fantastic role in saying to the colonial governor and government, this is not acceptable. Our people can't even put food on their table, much less have a decent roof over their head, much less have sanitation in Belize town back then. They used to have to bring in water.
Why did you choose the course of study that you did?
Okay, well, I think English came easily, and I loved literature as well. And so that's what I did when I was in the States. However, I had said to my dad one time, I don't see myself at age 40 teaching Shakespeare in the classroom. Because at the time, there was the possibility of a scholarship to go to Australia for a PhD course in English and literature. But I think at that time, I had my sights set on reading law. And that's why I ended up going to Jamaica and Barbados, to UWI, and then, of course, to the Norman Manley Law School to become a lawyer. And that took a good while, because I didn't qualify to practice as a lawyer until I was about 29, you know. But I believe I could answer you that I chose the course of study because I wanted to do something more than literature and teaching, and I felt that the law would give me a good background. I was attracted to politics, but I really didn't know how deeply I would get involved in it until I came back from studying and qualifying as an attorney, and then getting into the People's United Party.
Before you made all of those decisions, you must have had somebody that was maybe like a mentor, or somebody that you admired along the way. Who was that person, and why did you feel so close to them?
Well, I'd have to say my mom. And then a very close second was my aunt, Miss Jane. Well, you know, Miss Jane, you only mentioned the name Miss Jane, and you know what an icon she was for our country, with the years of service to our people at Holy Redeemer Credit Union. And I will let you in on a little secret that perhaps, I don't know if everybody would want me to tell this to you, but my mom actually has book number 5 at Holy Redeemer Credit Union to show you how much of a founding member she was and what the credit union movement has done for our country. And you know, the credit union movement grew up in tandem with Father Gainey and them. The credit union movement grew up in tandem with the first political parties and, of course, the People's United Party in the late 40s and, of course, early 50s. You know, so I really would have to give my mom the first place, closely followed by my icon and aunt, Miss Jane.
How important is mentorship, in your opinion, in somebody's life?
Absolutely essential, Rhonda. Young women going into politics, young people going into politics on a whole, it is so important to have a support system. I may have told you this already in an earlier interview, but I go back to it because a support system is so essential. And I think that when we have mentors, we can really find our feet as young people coming forward. And I really did have the best of mentors in my dad, my mom, people around who I saw in public service. So for me, I think it came naturally. And being in a big family, like I say, you can't get too self-centered. You have to make sure that you're playing the game along with siblings and cousins. I mean, I have about 50 odd cousins on one side of my family. So you know, it was good to watch them coming up. And we were close with, you know, my Auntie Betsy and my Auntie Lydia and my Auntie Meg. We were very close to all of them. And it was wonderful having a big extended family of mentors, but also people that we could look up to because we knew that they were in public service in the country of Belize.
On that note, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will be speaking with Miss Dolores about her law profession and then further into politics. We're going to take a break and be back.
Me and my Marie shops in Inland Lake.
Me and my Marie Sharp in Indiana.
I'm in Rhonda Beach, California with my Marie Sharp.
Me and my Marie shops in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Me and my Marie shop at Hertfordshire, England.
Me and my Marie Sharps in Taipei, Taiwan.
Marie Sharp, world-class products produced in Belize.
At NextGen, we work for you. Because despite you not being able to be together, we can keep you connected, united, talking to each other, seeing each other, communicating with each other. Stay connected with NextGen.
NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space to provide our clients with the highest quality.
We allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deckboard, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood, delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest. Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because of its perfect portion sizes, and I can travel with it.
Because it's nice and soft and creamy, and it goes smooth on your bread.
I choose Happy Cow cheese because I eat it with my beans. I eat it with my fried jack. And you know why? Because it's nice.
Most of all, when you're on the plane, you know they only give you some crackers, and you could just take one out and enjoy it with Happy Cow cheese.
I'm Miss Baker, and I choose Happy Cow cheese because it goes well with all the stuff I bake.
Happy Cow cheese. Look for it in a store near you. Distributed in Belize exclusively by Emilio Ahmad and Sons Limited.
Free t-shirt? The answer is yes!
Get a free t-shirt at Caribbean Tire with every Valvoline oil change. Caribbean Tire, taking you home safely.
Welcome back to Morning Matters. Miss Dolores in with us this morning. We call her Miss Dolores. A lot of you call her whatever it is that you call her, but we call her in here, we call her Miss Dolores. Dolores is in with us this morning, and she's here to share a portion of her life story and why she's made some of the choices that she's made that ended her up in the place that she is today. Again, welcome back.
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
In this segment, I want to start off with, what was it like practicing law when you first came back?
Well, it was kind of regular. I don't think that there was much to write home about as such. I do recall that when I was called to the bar, the Amandala newspaper, my picture was on the front page, and it said "a new lady lawyer." So there weren't many of us back then, you know. I mean, I can recall Shirley Courtney, Lois Young, a few more before me. And then after that, a slew came. And well, now I think there might be as many young women lawyers qualifying as young men. I mean, I went to a bar social the other evening, and I probably was not too familiar with about 80% of them. They were all really, really youngsters, you know. But it was good getting my feet wet in private practice. And I do recall that I did a pro bono murder case. And I'm happy to say, although I didn't end up being a criminal lawyer at all, but I'm happy to say that at that time, we were able to get the lesser conviction of just a sort of a manslaughter conviction. And you know, my client was found not guilty of murder, but of manslaughter, and didn't serve any jail time because of the circumstances of what had transpired. You know, so I felt good about that. But I think that I went more into the social aspects of the law, looking more at family law and looking more at sort of civil practice, you know, advices, things like wills and things like that. I certainly was not cut out to be a criminal defense lawyer, and so I didn't bother with that at all. But by then, I was already, the bug of the politics and being actively involved in the politics had already bitten me. And what we used to do, you know, in the United Women's Group, we used to go around the country meeting with our women and giving talks about the rights of women, etc. I can remember being down in Dangriga. We used to camp out at maybe a friend's house, you know, and we did a lot in terms of spreading the word of women's rights, especially to matrimonial property, and reducing the incidences of domestic violence and helping our women to know where to go. Of course, we didn't leave the children out and the men as well, but I think that it was very, very important in some of us young ones having played a role in passing the domestic violence legislation and also helping the country to focus on families, children, things like that, you know? So that set the groundwork for when I maybe got more into the politics by 1998, you know?
Before we get into that though, what was the thing that made you so passionate about family law and women in particular? Besides the fact that you are a woman, there had to have been something else that made you say, you know what, this area needs attention and I will dedicate my time to this area.
Well, it would have had to have been the life experience of seeing people out there, Rhonda, because I think, again, I go back to my mom and my dad, and I think that their social awareness and their involvement in community life, in helping people less fortunate, I think that really grounded me in wanting to do what I could do for smaller communities, larger communities. And because I had read law, it made it a little easier for me to say, okay, maybe this is how I can help. But I really wanted to get involved because coming from a family of community service, but also knowing that there were so many things that we could do to try to make things better, helped me to get into it.
Coming from a family of community service, I would imagine taught you many things. But one of the things I would imagine it taught you was that you would put in long hours and you would get very little financial reward. However, you now are a lawyer with your law degree in hand, and then you still chose politics. Why?
Well, maybe I'm silly. No, but you know what I was thinking the other day, Rhonda? No, seriously, I was thinking the other day, when I was in law school, I actually ended up winning the company law prize, because the company law prize is given to the person who writes the best paper. Well, I don't know if I was cut out to be a company lawyer, but maybe I knew how to write, because I had a master's degree in English. But if I won the company law prize, maybe today I should be a wealthy corporate lawyer. And absolutely certainly I am not. I've stayed very modest, my husband and I, and by the way, we've just recently celebrated 34 years and wedding anniversary.
Congratulations.
So I think, thanks. Yeah, so, I guess I could have chosen a path of just following the law and, making darn good money, if you could put it that way. But I think, like I say, once that politics bug bites you and you really want to follow that, then the money afterwards is really not so important. At least that's how I look at it. And I still look at it that way because, as you know, we're working hard towards a general election soon,
We're going to get into that in the third and final segment. But in this segment, I want to know, what was it like when you first entered politics?
Well, it was tough because it was full of men. It was, it still is. It still is. It was tough. I kind of had to claw my way up a little bit, if I could put it that way, But again, I think the work that we did going around the country, supporting the United Women's Group, supporting the youth movement, what we call the Belize Youth Movement, the BYM, supporting the younger contributors to the political process within the political party. I think that really helped us to know where people were at. And then, of course, after a while of becoming the national women's organizer for the party and getting involved, being appointed an opposition senator back in the early 90s, I think this helped to ground me in what I would have wanted to do were I going to be in government, if I could put it that way, What was one of the biggest challenges that you faced as a woman in politics in those days? Okay. Well, it's that sort of macho mentality that you really, you wonder sometimes, because it's so important. I might be preaching to the converted here, Rhonda, but it's so important for women to be involved, So, and it was difficult because the men just kind of assumed that they are made for politics. Anybody could jump up. But then when the women jump up, they say, but what kind of experience you have? What kind of training you have? Where are you coming from? Who are your auntie? Who are your cousin? That kind of scrutiny is not given to men, but it is to women. So it has been more difficult. I mean, it would be stupid of me to sit here and to not acknowledge that there were difficult times until you really can fight for your voice to be heard and for that voice to make a difference.
And I don't want to stay there too long, but I stay there because I think it is important for not only women, but for people in general to understand the importance of fighting for what you believe. You were at that time fighting two fights. You were fighting to be elected and you were fighting for a position as a woman in politics. What made you stay when, again, you had other great options?
Okay. Well, I think it was fun. Politics is good fun, you have to like it. It was good fun. And we could see that we were making some progress in terms of getting the guys around to listen, and then of course helping to put together what we call the women's agenda. Because within the PUP, we have always had a separate portion of our manifesto that we have called over the years the women's agenda. And once we incorporated that into our manifesto commitments, I think it made it much difficult. Well, not difficult, but it made it easier to say, well, look, this is our mantra. This is what we have to try to accomplish if we get there. And this is basically why you get up in the morning and why you want to get out there and do the work that you are going to be doing. So that is how I would answer that, Rhonda.
Do you still have this women's manifesto in the party?
Yes, indeed. We do. We're coming up with the women's agenda. And we're also, actually, I can share, I'm happy to share that we will be looking at the issue, perhaps not separately, but incorporating it. We're going to be looking at the issue of families, community development, and culture. Now, culture is there. Usually they put culture along with education, but I would really like us to focus on the Belizean family, however that Belizean family is made up, because I think there is so much more that needs to be done. The Ministry of Human Development is a ministry that I have held, and I was passionate about it when I did so. But I think there's much more to be done now. And we have to also focus on community development, keeping in mind respect for village councils, because I am seeking once again to represent a rural constituency, suburban and rural. But I think that once you have those issues of family and community development and you incorporate the various cultures that you see when you go from place to place. I mean, Rhonda, I don't live there, but I love going to Gracie Rock. I think Gracie Rock people are the best. I just really, that's awful to say the truth. I might get into trouble with all of the rest.
But that's fine. That's fine. I think
I'm just sharing, It's a wonderful, wonderful, scenic place. Look, Belize is beautiful, Rhonda. I know I don't have to tell you that. I don't have to tell you.
I absolutely enjoy moving around Belize. But yes. when you were the Minister of Human Development, what are some of the things that you were most proud of during that time?
Well, I think it was the legislation in relation to the protection of children, Rhonda. We made the reporting of child abuse and neglect mandatory. So you're a teacher, you're a doctor, you're a mentor. The reporting of child abuse and or neglect is mandatory. So that was really pretty good. And then apart from that, we also looked at the issue of women and matrimonial issues having to do with women, so that in the case of a divorce, a woman is not left without a roof over her head. And even if she, and this is gender neutral, by the way, so it can be a he as well, even if on a divorce, property may not have been in your personal name, the contribution that you made to that partnership must be taken into account because you were there all along. Just the other day I was talking to a lady who has been in a common law union for 20 years. And now that the union seems to be breaking up, she's seeking advice. And what I am saying to her is, look, you are in your home. That home is as much yours as it is for the gentleman. And your rights as a woman, having contributed, not only having children, but caring for the home, being an ama de casa, being a person who has contributed to your family, you cannot be left out of door. And the law, which we helped to pass back in 2001, is saying that you have those rights that absolutely must be protected. Now, it might sound a little bit like old hat because it's 19 years since, but it is ever so important. And my advice to women, make sure the house is also in your name or property, and make sure that you keep documents, keep things that you have in writing. Make sure that you have your proof. Should in case you end up in a court one day, you don't have to say, well, I got the paper, but I lost it. So that kind of thing that is still so very important for our women, but also let me hasten to add that it is gender neutral. We have to protect our men in relationships as well, because I see so many Mr. Moms out there. And I'm very proud of our Belizean men who are playing that nurturing role, because we just need those good fathers. Well, we just had Father's Day the other day, And the nurturing role that so many of our dads put in is so important, especially in a day on difficult COVID times, if I could put it that way.
You definitely can. This is, again, as a woman in politics or in most jobs, I believe that you have
a more challenging time for various reasons, but also in the home. How do you manage your time for your family as well as achieving your goal, your political goal?
Girl, it takes a lot of balancing act. It really does take a lot of balancing act. I have been extremely fortunate, Rhonda, and I'm sure this is not the first time I've said it, but I have been so extremely fortunate to have such good, sound family support. Not only my parents, well, my dad has long passed, but my mom is still alive, and I have wonderful support from husband and sisters, brothers, and that nurturing role in the home has been shared so that I could have dedicated a good amount of my time to politics. But you really do have to find a balancing act. And sometimes, you have to come home and just unwind and, have a little chat, a little drink, whatever, and just kind of throw off the politics for a while and just have family around and just enjoy yourself, and enjoy some quality time with family, if I could put it that way,
Well, you have to find time for everything. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break. And in our third and final segment, when we come back, we will talk about what you are up to now. Why was it important for Dolores Balderamos Garcia to re-enter her name, especially in a time like this? We're going to take a break and be back.
I chose Galen because of its strong reputation, great scholarships.
I came because I can take all my classes online.
Because Galen University opens doors to the outside world.
Their course offering in tourism.
It gives you more opportunity to become who I want to be.
If you want to connect with your inner champion to make the world a better place, then Galen is right for you.
Free t-shirt? The answer is yes! Get a free t-shirt at Caribbean Tire with every Valvoline oil change. Caribbean Tire, taking you home safely.
Me and my Marie shops in Lake.
Me and my Marie shop in Indiana.
I'm in Rhonda Beach, California with my Marie Sharp.
Me and my Marie shops in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Me and my Marie shop at Hertfordshire, England.
Me and my Marie shops in Taipei, Taiwan.
Marie Sharp, world-class products produced in Belize.
At NextGen, we work for you. Because despite you not being able to be together, we can keep you connected, united, talking to each other, seeing each other, communicating with each other. Stay connected with NextGen.
NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Did you know that it's best to keep the lumber stored in a dry place?
At KT Enterprises, all our wood is stored in an enclosed space to provide our clients with the highest quality.
We allow you to personally select your lumber if you choose, and we deliver countrywide.
Be it deckboard, beams, and imported hardwoods such as red oak and white ash. At KT Enterprises, we provide you with the highest grade in treated pine, construction grade plywood, and imported hardwood. Delivered to your door.
We continue to build Belize by reforesting its pine forest. Visit us today at 2.3 miles Iguana Creek Road or give us a call at 671-0114 or 672-0114.
New Buildings Limited is the company of choice when it comes to design, fabricating and erection of wide-span metal buildings in Belize. At New Buildings, we have a team of well-trained professionals that can produce the most innovative and durable metal structures. Be it domestic or industrial buildings, we can get it done for you. We have put together some of the most outstanding metal structures in the country. We also do estimates and consulting. Visit New Buildings in Spanish Lookout or give them a call at 631-8723 or 610-5185. New Buildings Limited, the experts when it comes to metal structures in Belize.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we believe our job is very essential in serving our customers. And that is just one reason why visiting us is an experience to be remembered.
Here at Coop Sheet Metal, we have a reliable fleet of trucks. We specialize in countrywide delivery of all our material.
Coop Sheet Metal is a family business that was started by my grandfather, who even had many of his machines hand-built decades ago to make our products the most reliable in Belize. Come visit us at our new facility on Iguana Creek Road, just past the Belize River leading to Spanish Lookout.
Welcome back to the third and final segment of Morning Matters. Dolores Balderamos Garcia in with us, sharing her journey thus far and helping us to understand why she continues to make the choices that she's making. Dolores, welcome back.
Thank you, and good morning again, and thanks.
Just before we went to break, we asked why. This is a time, if anybody is looking, they may say that this is the most challenging time to be a politician. And you, of all people, you don't need to re-enter your league, but yet you do. Why?
Rhonda, I would have to answer that by saying there's unfinished work. And even though a new government of a different political party will be facing exceedingly daunting times, I believe that it is only right that if I can put my shoulder to the wheel along with other persons, then let us do so. Because, you could throw in the towel and say, well, the economy going down, COVID got locked right down, the airport will open, but we really don't know if tourism is going to pick up. I think, Rhonda, that we have to keep reinventing ourselves. And I certainly am in the process of reinventing myself because I first got elected way back in 1998, So it's reinventing oneself. It's finding new ways to take on the challenges that everyday life brings. And I believe that I can contribute to that, Rhonda. Let me give you some ideas. First of all, I think we have to grow our agricultural sector. We have to grow our agro-industrial sector. We have to grow our services sector that is not necessarily tied to tourism. Because I think that there is opportunity out there, but at the same time, we have to provide that safety net for families who are challenged. Not that you want to be giving a handout all of the time. And I've never liked the term pantry, because pantry sound like you give away the whole kitchen. But I have nothing against assisting families in need, but I think we also have to focus on giving that hand up instead of that hand out, if I could put it that way. And I see so much, how shall I say, small entrepreneurship in the Ladyville area, in the Hattieville area. And you know what is an excellent industry to be in all the Rhonda, is the food, because people have to eat. Right? People get up and go to work in the morning, they have to eat. Lunchtime, they have to eat. evening time, they have to eat if it's 3 meals a day. Some people can get by on 2, but that's an area that we can look at. And to bring maybe a short answer to the question, why be involved? Because I think that if you sit on the sideline and you just watch things going on, you can't be a part of the solution. And there are many difficulties today, and I would like to continue to be a part of that solution, if I could put it that way.
What do you believe to be one of the greatest social challenges that we're facing in this time?
I think cohesion would be a way that I would answer that, Rhonda, because so many times we forget the people across the street, the people down the road, the people back a village, you know, the people back at a small village, like say, for example, Freetown, Cebu. Sometimes we forget to remember that we have to contribute to the community so that they can help themselves to pull themselves up, get back into business, and try to let their daily lives work for themselves, their children, their families, etc.
What do you think can be done to continue the fight for women's rights and children's rights?
Well, there is still absolutely too much domestic and gender violence, Rhonda. Let me give you the very sad example that we Belizeans are aware of today. The horrendous treatment of the women in the BDF, for example. I mean, when I listen to some of the stories, it's nothing nice. The sexual harassment, the abuse, the rape culture, the culture of machismo covering up that kind of thing. It really gets my dander up, if I could put it that way. I think that the work of supporting our women and our families to have a better life, a more equal and equitable society, is still something that is there that we have to work on. And as I said, that I would like to be a part of.
Do you think that we can see any significant change in this lifetime? It seems like it is a battle that we continue to fight. And then you look back and you think, yes, we see change, but is the change enough?
We have already seen significant change, Rhonda. We have already seen good change, but there is always, life is a journey, life is a struggle. It's not a destination, you know? And so when we talk about wanting to improve, we could talk the talk, but then those of us who believe and trust that we can make a difference and can sell that idea, I think those are the ones of us that really need to be involved. And that is why I continue to offer myself. I say to young people, I will never take you for granted. I am asking you to support me so that I can maybe give back or continue to give back to the community, because it is so important to do so. And I only want to add that when we get through to our young people and we say, look, the kind of government that you have makes a difference. Please be involved in choosing who your government will be. Now, another talk specifically red or blue or green or yellow, but the principle of getting our young people involved is so very important.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I think that this is a changing time. I think that this is a time when people are educating themselves about their options. This is why we're having shows like these, so that people can form their own opinion of who Dolores is, who Beverly is, who this one is, and who that one is.
Through their own admittance, if you will. So we sit here to provide a platform for people to better understand the candidates. So we invite everybody to come and have the conversation.
Surely.
Because I think it is important for us to, like I said, to educate ourselves and to listen to the people speak, because a lot of times when I hear about Dolores, it is because the opposition is telling me that Dolores is bad. I don't, just because. When I hear about Bev, it's because her opposition is telling me that she is bad. So I think platforms like these give the opportunity for everybody to represent themselves how they so choose, and to tell a little bit about their journey. But having said that, I have sat down with a lot of politicians, and in recent time, a lot of aspiring politicians. And everybody says they give me, and I would imagine my audience, the greatest story, how great of a job they will do. And I also have been to the polls a few times myself. And every time I go to vote for Tom Jones or Mary Jane, I believe their story. And then once they get my X, I don't get anything else out of them in terms of, not for me, but for my community and for my country. It's like they trick me into voting for them, and then I get nothing. What is to separate Dolores from the rest?
Well, first of all, look at the track record, Rhonda. I don't believe that I have a bad track record. I mean, if I could put it that way, I have put my shoulder to the wheel, and I have contributed to our community. But how else must I answer that question? What would separate me from those who get elected and then, you could say, maybe turn the back, as you were saying, no? What would separate me? Well, I think that the commitment to people first politics, and for my door to always be open, is where I would say that would separate me from those who would jump into the SUV high and mighty and hightail it to Belmopan in 50 minutes, and then the people can't see them. I can pretty much say that if I am elected, you won't have to go through more than one person to see me. Because I believe that if you put me there, I must be the one to sit down and for the door to always be open to address the concerns. I always tell people I'm not a big promising person, but I'm a person that if you put me there, my door will be open and I will try my level best to address your concern, because that you put me there and I can't get there without you and without your support. I would like to continue. The track record, I believe, is good, but it will be for those out there to judge based on the commitment that I have made and based on the fact that you look at somebody and you can size them up, and I believe the voters can do the same. Voters out there, not stupid.
I could not agree with you more. The voters out there are getting more and more brilliant with time. You know, first we used to...
And sophisticated.
Yes, we used to vote red or yellow because my parents voted that. Now I will sit down with my parents and tell them why I'm going to vote green or
correct,
white or whatever.
Correct.
What is your vision for Belize?
For Belize? Oh gosh, I think there's no doubt that we can make a better Belize, Rhonda. I'm gonna maybe sound a little bit, maybe it'll sound a little bit like a manifesto or a sort of a preaching, but I really do believe that we can create a Belize that works for all of us. Because why should we have a Belize that will work for the top business people, but not the small business people? That will work for maybe a lot of the men, but not a lot of the women. That will work for the people in urban communities, but not work for the people in rural communities. One of the things that I would like to see, Rhonda, is more respect for village councils, so that the input when it comes to the distribution of land, which is, by the way, the biggest need and the biggest desire of people out there, I would like to see the respect for our elected officials, but also the people who actually have a stake in the communities, so that we can see how we are going to do land distribution. One of the biggest accomplishments in the early days of George Price and other leaders was the distribution of land, for example, to cane farmers. I think we need a new thrust and a new mantra to bring that distribution of land and lots, etc., to our people. Every Belizean has the right to have a piece of land. But how many of us are actually getting that little stake that we have in what we call this beautiful jewel of ours? And that is where I would like to leave the message, because I think we just absolutely have to do better. My vision is for a Belize that will work for us, because it will be across the board and not for the few and mighty, but for the majority and for the small lady, the small man, and the small child.
And I don't mean to pressure you, but you've said, and I have to use this analogy. The girl that is with the guy that's been wanting to get married for 15 years, and ever so often he says, next year I'm going to buy you that diamond ring because I know you deserve it. And then another 15 years goes by and she never gets the ring, but she stays because she wants the ring. I think that is how our politicians treat us with the land. They dangle it as something that, oh, when I get in, I will give it to you. The same way, so they get her attention, and I notice right now with almost all the people that I have interviewed, that is something that they say. And I've been hearing this at least for the past how many years? Because I've been sitting in this place for a little while and I've just been watching. But what is to say that it's not just going to fall on deaf ears again? Because both sides, they have dangled the prize in front of our eyes for so long. And we are hopeful. We are that girl that wants to get married. And you keep putting, not you, for instance, but the politicians on both sides of the fence. They keep dangling this diamond ring in our face. And then just to tell us, if you behave a little better next year, maybe I'll give it to you.
Rhonda, the way I would have to respond to that is that people make up politics. And not because there may have been a bad result 5 and 6 and 7 times before, must we be completely turned off or completely skeptical or even cynical about the political process. I really believe that if we have the right kind of person coming forward and the people who not only have the proven record, but also have the humility to put themselves forward and to say, look, I really am going to try to make a difference, then I think that it wouldn't be just the promise of the diamond ring, but at least if I can't get you a diamond, I will get you a cubic zirconia. That kind of thing, That, say again?
Something, anything.
Something, yes, something. No, Rhonda, I know just to sit here, this boat, I really believe that we have to work harder to get land for our people, because many young people out there, I'm campaigning right now, and many young people out there, they're not expecting a 4 or 5 bedroom house for you and give me this and give me that. All they're looking for is an opportunity. I think if we're going to be any kind of good government, we have to look at the grassroots and be able to provide the grassroots with at least an opportunity.
We're winding down now, but I would like for a young person, especially a young girl that's looking out there, that may not believe that she can get to her end goal based on whatever the challenges are. What would you say to her?
What would I say? I think I would say that we must have hope in the future, Rhonda. And for a young person to have hope in the future, you have to look them in the eye and you have to say, I am not going to sit here and bullshit you. I am going to tell you like it is. Yes, we are.